Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform on Raypower FM. My name is Amici Anakwan. Today's edition we shall be giving you two issues, the reports, even live from the field and the accompanying analysis, civil society groups, the All African Democratic Congress and several Nigerians out there at the National Assembly in protest against the refusal of the Senate to include electronic transmission of results in the Electoral Act. We shall also be telling you about the state of NNPC and its refineries. For a long time, management, successive, have vowed that they can build, maintain, and run these refineries, but the incumbent chief executive officer has said it is not practicable. NNPC lacks the capacity to do so. So $20 billion wasted based on what you may call misinformation given to Nigerians by successive heads of management of NNPC, funds that have gone down the drain, yet the refineries are shut down as we speak. Well, my colleagues are here with me, Adeba Bodori. We have Kunla Dewale Tevetiev and Abulo Semuagu, and we'll be joining Funke Ogunlolu on the field to give us updates as Nigerians besiege the National Assembly complex. Adeba Bodori, the Senate made a statement over the weekend that they'll be reconvening tomorrow, Tuesday. Some people say it's for them to adopt votes and proceedings of previous session to pave the way for the harmonization committee to go ahead. But whatever it is, the pressure is on the senators. We are beginning to see those of them that were involved in the move in the action to go against the decision reached by the entire Senate, talking about Monguno, talking about Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barau, and talking about the man at the lead of it all, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio.
Well, I was shocked over the weekend. Oh, okay, let me just say hello to my colleagues in the studio, Amici and Kunle and Teve and Abudu. Let me also say good morning to our listeners out there.
And Chidera also, who's there to read our mail.
I was carried away because when I read over the weekend the statement from the Senate President that I cannot be intimidated. Nobody is intimidating him. He's the one intimidating Nigerians. If he doesn't,
and we cannot be intimidated. So, Mr. Senate President, we cannot be intimidated.
We also not be intimidated by your statement. The statement you issue that you are intimidated is, for me, is offensive. Nigerians are united on one issue, and you are towing a different path. And because you have enormous influence and power today, you think you can erode your decision on that issue, and then all of us will be cowed down. We cannot also be cowed down. We cannot be intimidated. I think the protest today is out of concern of the fact that the Senate took a decision that is anti-people.
Okay.
The Senate took a decision that is not in the interest of the nation. The Senate took...
But unfortunately, the opposition parties have one of the lead protest branch, which will talk to us now. She will talk to us now. And Aisha Yusufu, they're excited to see each other. Oh, please hold on. Hold on. I said, drink my water. Oh, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Peter. So why are you protesting? What's the source of that?
We are protesting to save democracy in Nigeria. Without free and fair elections and the vote of the people counting, Nigeria is not moving forward. Criminals in power know that their only choice is to rig election. The National Assembly must not be mischievous with the new Electoral Act. Terrorists are using network to send text and collect ransom. Nigeria has enough technology for real-time transmission of results. So we want rigging and not.
Okay, just to clarify, Peter, that we don't have criminals in power. You may not like them, but they are not criminals. Just to take away.
It is your opinion, sir.
Yeah, take away that one. It's not good for us. So what are your expectations of
anybody who cannot account for 210 trillion missing from NNPC or 150 billion missing from Ministry of Power are criminals. Anybody who steals money as a former governor to pay school fee in advance is a criminal. And until we call them what they are, Nigeria will not move forward. But for the sake of your show, let us move on as you said, sir.
So your expectations of the National Assembly as you protest?
Yes, sir. It is that the National Assembly will do the right thing. They came back from holidays at the end of January, since December. They passed a bill that has a lot of contradiction, the Senate President Akpabio, and proceeded on another recess to come back at the end of February. And Nigerians are saying, no, you must come back and attend to this because it's a matter of time and it is expedient. We are almost too late. They are trying to drag this thing so that they will not do it. At the end, the president will say it is too late. Let them use the 2022 Electoral Act that ended up with glitches. Sir, Nigerians are saying no. Our votes must count. Is it not a democracy? Why should Democrats be afraid of free and fair election? Our expectation is that the right thing will be done and Nigeria must work in our lifestyle.
Yeah, the report we have is that you are going to occupy the National Assembly. I hope you brought your mattress, your toothpaste, and...
My mattress is with me live, Uncle.
Okay.
I'm talking to you with my mattress and pillow.
So we expect that you'll be there until...
Send food for me. Send... I'm fighting for you. You people should wait bill food and other things, soft drinks for me, because with the sweat, we don't tire.
Okay, back to our correspondent. Yeah, thank you so much for speaking with us, Peter. Okay, and so that's the situation there. Well, just to also clarify, a criminal is not a criminal because you think he's a criminal. Those he referred to as criminals are not criminals, and we push back those words. We know the processes of what constitutes a criminal. The ones he describes are purely not in that category.
Before TV comes, yeah, because you see, the fear now is that this is snowballing. Look at what the issues he's calling that. This is not, it's the electoral matter that took them there. But look at the issues he's calling. So the Senate President and his team have to be careful.
Okay.
Let not snowball into something else.
Yes, Amechi, good morning to you, listener and viewers. Applause for the National Assembly when it was passed. I'm sure at the end of the day, we might just also be heading towards that direction. But I'm happy. And I've said Nigerians need to have for all of this, to work together. So we're hopeful. Like I keep saying, the process is a process. It's not over until we have that conference report and it's adopted by both chambers of the National Assembly.
And the president's assent.
Yeah,
okay, we'll go for a break now. When we come back, Chidera.
Just one word on this electoral issue. I have seen the pro-Senate group, the argument they are making. The argument being made is that we don't have the
technology, the
service provider, that it will not be able to do it. The same argument was made when BVAS was being introduced. And I do recall vividly that the then vice chairman, I keep on saying, I've said so on this program, the then vice chairman of the NCC and commission came to the Senate, the same Senate, came to the same Senate and said, we don't have connectivity around the country. The same pressure that was mounted was while BVAS was adopted. We should stop raising issues that are not tenable. BVAS work throughout the country. We start having incidence form was eliminated. And so there's not only saying that if we have electronic transmission of results, it's a must. Because manipulation of results is one of the processes of rigging election.
So perhaps they have to tell us how IREV worked for National Assembly elections in 2023. If it worked in 2020 to truncate the whole process. No. If there are places where you don't have network, what do? You make provision, special provision for them. There are satellite network coverages, Starlink, if we must advertise that, are already available. They are thinking backwards. Some people think backwards purposely to truncate a system or to prevent reforms. Man naturally is anti-reform, and those reactionary forces will do everything possible to stop reform because the status will benefit them, and they will not want a change that will bring in reprieve for many Nigerians. We'll go on this break, and when we come back, Chidera will join us with the mess, and after that, our refinery. Stay with us.
Welcome to the mail segment. I am Chidera Izudui. Our first mail is from Emmanuel Nkama from Lagos, and he says, please, I crave your indulgence to observe that 1. The World Bank claims that President Tinubu's economic reforms has become global reference point and is nothing but fallacy and political and economic rhetorics. This is because it is those who wear the shoe that knows exactly where it pinches. World Bank or others should not be the ones to tell Nigerians that the economic fortunes on that president has or is improving. The big question is, what is the purchasing power of Nigerians? This is because Nigeria economy presently, after the removal of fuel subsidy, is like more money to the state governors that does not translate to the economic welfare of the ordinary people. Sadly enough, it is like more money, more poverty. Here's reminding the various governments that it is the market men and women that will get the real economic realities on ground, because it is only a blind man who will tell that there is no oil in the soup. Nigerians cannot afford to be suffering in the midst of plenty. And from Abuja, Emeka Amba is saying, now, a very simple matter of passing the 2025 Electoral Act as amended with special reference to the mandatory electronic transmission of results real time, which over 200 million of Nigerians' population have been clamoring for, has shifted to semantics in the now retirement home we call the Nigerian state. The minority opposition led by Senator Naya Baribe of Abia South constituency swore with everything they held sacred that what was agreed in both the closed door and committee sessions was electronic transmission of results real time. The senators who want to have their selfish ways over the will of Nigerians, led by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, changed it to electronic transfer of results. And now we are stuck with this unnecessary, ridiculous time-wasting transmission or transfer of results. I make bold to advise the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, that Nigeria is bigger than his and his co-travelers' selfish ambition. And so, as such, emergency session with all senators expected to be present and to do the needful as demanded by majority of Nigerians, irrespective of political affiliation, to once and for all address this issue of electronic transmission of election results in real time in the 2026 Electoral Act, for us to know who is in favor or against electoral integrity and transparency. Lastly, I am using this opportunity to draw the attention of Nigeria Railway Corporation, Abuja, as regards the unfulfillment of the compensation packages in terms of refund and other measures to compensate those of us involved in the train derailment of August 26, 2025, from Abuja to Kaduna State. And from Lagos says, after over 2 decades of turnaround maintenance of Port Harcourt refineries and others which gulped $1.5 billion, NNPCL has agreed that it was a waste of resources. Government complains, and at the same time, they waste these scarce resources. Can those that be tried? There are civil servants still being paid by government refinery that is not working. So what exactly is their work? The more you try to understand the workings in Nigeria, the more confused it becomes. People walk in and out and get paid doing nothing. Now, if the government mentions SAC, the NLC and TUC will go on strike. We should shelve this Nigeria of me, my people and family. EFCC should weigh in into the account of NNPCL and check the contracts and companies that executed them. No one should be excluded. The NDDC probe suddenly stopped after the minister off your mic. God bless Nigeria. And lastly, from Kuba, Amici Obochi is saying, the group managing director of NNPCL, Bashir Bayo, reportedly informed Nigerians in November that the company spent 17.5 trillion naira securing fuel pipelines and related infrastructure within the last 12 months. 12 months? That figure is staggering for just 1 year. Perspective between 2021 and 2022, a combined total of 5.7 trillion naira was spent on fuel subsidy payments. Now, when compared to the 17.5 trillion naira reportedly spent in only 12 months to secure pipelines, serious questions arise. Which pipelines are being secured? Pipelines that appear largely inactive throughout the year, especially as NNPCL's production levels remain questionable. The situation raises concerns about accountability and priorities among Nigeria's leadership. it often appears that personal or political interests overshadowed national development. Anyway, it is worth recalling that President Tinubu removed fuel subsidies with the promise of reducing corruption and limiting government borrowing. However, corruption concerns persist and borrowing levels have reportedly increased, even exceeding what was accumulated during the administration of Obasanjo, Jonathan, and Buhari combined. That is how far we can go on the mail segment. Keep sending in your mails to politicalplatform@darkgroup.com, and you can join the conversations on YouTube at Raypower Abuja. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the mails. Writer is talking about Nigeria Railway Corporation. The Senate the other day told us that before now, 10 shuttles between Abuja and Kaduna, we borrowed money, millions of dollars to build that. We know that government was still subsidizing. Now, what we heard is there is only one shuttle between Abuja and Kaduna. It will take you 3.5 hours. It tells you about the state of railway in Nigeria. People are still being paid as the managing director who's there overseeing inefficiency. He has not been sacked already. How can you invest so much and because of people's inefficiency and corruption, you see who's going to pay back those loans? You and I. The intention was that the rail track, the system will generate the revenue to pay it back. The president has not sacked the railway chairman. He's there and drinking tea and coffee in his cozy office while the railway transport between Abuja and Kaduna is lying comatose. You should go to Enugu State and see how public operations are indeed generating revenue. The state yesterday reported about over 400 billion naira, and it came from over 400 billion money they generated because of the business of the government. And we go to the NNPC.
You see,
refinery is not working. For the first time, a chief executive officer has acknowledged that NNPC lacks the capacity to operate the refineries.
You cannot, when you start talking of cabal, you will notice there's a cabal in the oil sector. When Obasanjo was leaving office, he took a bold decision, and I called that bold decision. I've said so on this program. It was the boldest decision ever taken to save wastage. And what he did was to sell out the refineries. The government can no longer be doing turnaround maintenance every year that will not yield anything. And the refineries were sold. Yeah. The late President Yaradua took over, and the policy was reversed. They returned the money to those who purchased the refineries. One of those who purchased the refinery today owns the biggest refinery in Africa.
And it was the cabal that convinced the then President Yaradua to do so, vowing that they will make the refinery work.
That is no, it's not good. So you can see the processes of turning around this refinery started with the withdrawal of $1 billion from our foreign reserve. President Buhari, the late President Buhari, inherited a healthy foreign reserve from Jonathan. And the first thing they did was to withdraw $1 billion. They said to revitalize the refineries. And the processes started under him. The refineries never worked. And then when President Tinubu took over, they shouted, "Hooray! The refineries are back on track." It worked for only days.
And operated at a loss. And let's bring it to the...
So for me, there's the need to probe refinery. Before we came on set, I was saying, how are we can bring back the tribunals? And it reminded me we are now in a democracy. So that a tribunal can probe this refinery.
The $20 billion spent on turnaround rehabilitation.
Don't forget
$20 billion USD.
Don't forget the fact that EFCC told us that what they have discovered so far in the process of turning around the refineries is
just at the tip.
And then they have not up to today. It ended there. AFCC itself should do its work.
Okay. Obviously, I was going to say there's no need for any different probe. The EFCC, ICPC, all of them should get that.
They said they just opened the first page of many voluminous documents. And what they saw there, in terms of money spent on turnaround, was mind-boggling. Have they not opened the other pages?
Even the code of conduct should also be involved. Look at those who have left, those managerial and even
wherever they are,
and
bring them back.
You see, we are discussing these things now. You will not hear Pengerson. You will not hear TUC. You will not hear them.
But when you see
it is their members who collaborated with the management of these people in NNPC to do this. You will not hear them talk. But when you talk about other issues, that's where they will shout, we shut down. This is the time for them to come. It is the workers that will make this thing work in Nigeria. And they are the problem. We will not have a problem until this is solved.
I thank the CEO, the GMD and CEO of the NNPCL for coming clean to Nigerians.
Yes.
For decades, indeed, since I began going on air as a broadcaster, I have talked about the opacity in the oil industry. And this is clearly what is coming out now. Corruption in the oil industry is as thick as the sludge that you find in the engine of an old, dilapidated truck. And that's what
oil that has congealed and thickened,
full of all kinds of dirt.
Okay.
And that's what we are seeing. Government must wake up and get to the bottom of
this.
One
line, Abulu.
Yes.
Just one line.
Let's not cover our eyes with a cloth to what the GMD of NNPC is saying. There might be more to it than meet the eyes.
Okay.
Probably he's trying to dodge something. That's why he's coming out in the open face. But meanwhile, quickly, Tebi, these are operational matters. The unions have made their recommendations.
Okay, we'll have to go now. More than a decade, gentlemen, more than a decade ago, I came up with the concept of NNPC as the 4 towers of corruption. When you come to Abuja, one of the beautiful edifices you see is the NNPC 4 towers. Their buildings consist of 4 towers, high-rising. I called it 4 towers of corruption. And a lot of people, Dangote built his own refinery with $19 billion. Yeah, we wasted 20 billion, and up to today, they are not functional. How will you describe corruption? If they ask me to describe corruption, I'll just write that one line, and I'll get my A in any exam and walk away.
So you're not NNPC.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a good time.